in a certain sense, spirituality is about becoming conscious enough, potentially conscious enough, to allow yourself to be at that place. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. To allow yourself to be there. To willingly allow yourself to be there. To willingly not avoid what we seem to be almost entirely hooked up to avoid. That's why surrender has been such a part of all forms of spirituality. Because it's a means and an invitation to do something that it seems like almost everything in us is hooked up to not do, which is to let go. And the farther you go into all this, the more you find that this will resonate for you. You may or may not like it, but the more you'll find it'll resonate for you. You can have, even when you have moments of seeing beyond the veil, days, weeks, months, who knows? That it's very likely that little movement of mind that tries to succeed will eventually come back. You notice as long as it's gone, those of you who've had it disappear know how wonderfully everything goes as long as it disappears. That thing which is trying to succeed and do it right and have its little opinions understood by the world. When it all disappears, you realize how absolutely wonderful everything goes, how blissful it is, how non-separate you suddenly are from everything. How you are just basking in the inner glow, inner radiance of spirit itself, just what you are. And then when that little movement of mind tries to succeed, as Lao Tzu said, you have just begun your means to failure. As soon as that little thing tries to succeed and says something like, how do I hold on to this? It's trying to succeed, you see. And as soon as it tries to succeed, there'll be failure, right? As soon as you try to hold on to it, it won't be there anymore. It will seem to disappear, your great realization. Reality can't disappear. Your realization of it can. And if it does disappear, and when it does disappear, then that which is trying to succeed gets even more concerned, does it not? Oh God, how do I succeed in getting it back? So it comes to teachers like me. How do I get it? How do I sustain it when it comes? How do I not lose it? And you see, it's the old voice, isn't it? It's all different ways of saying, how do I succeed at this? How do I control it? How do I control reality so reality is always in full consciousness of itself? Of course, the answer is failure is the means to success. Your failure, our failure to sustain a realization, our failure to hold on to it, our failure to recreate it, is itself the means to its reemergence. But for most of us human beings, that is a very hard-won realization. It kind of like, that one kind of has to wear you down like water going over stone. Until there's nothing in you that's trying to succeed at it. And mysteriously, when there's nothing in you that's trying to succeed at it anymore, all there is the success of it. All there is reality, is your own nature, spirit, awake to itself, shining forth all the time. All the time. When there's nothing in you that's trying to succeed at making it shine all the time. When that has been squeezed out of the system. Or sometimes it just disappears. Knowing this, however, understanding this dynamic can be very useful, not useful in achieving success at it, by the way, but it can be very useful because a lot of this happens simply through misunderstanding. Literally, simply through not understanding the dynamics of how human experience works. Simply through not understanding the dynamics of how realization occurs. Simply through not understanding that through failure is the means to success spiritually. Ultimately, as I've said many times, there are many spiritual tricks of the trade, sort of spiritual chiropractic maneuvers that are very useful. And as long as they work, do them. But the day will come when they won't work. The day will come when none of them will work anymore. None of them. That is the inextricable trajectory of every being's spiritual existence. Your trajectory is eventually nothing works. Isn't that cool? I'm always surprised when I say that. Like rooms just don't completely empty. But then again, everybody else has as much truth in them as I do. And everybody else actually knows as much as I know. You may or may not want to know what you know. You may or may not have come to grips with what you know. But this isn't like, spiritual PhD. This isn't spiritual physics. This is just obviously so stuff if we're willing to look at it. So ultimately it moves in that direction. And pretty soon none of the little tricks of the trade will work. As long as they do, great, use them. I use them all the time as a teacher. But that's a trajectory, is it not? Have you noticed yet? Oh, you will. But that place, that's the place of surrender, right? And that's what Lao Tzu is talking about when what he's calling failure is what others are calling surrender, right? That the failure is the means to success. That place where nothing works is the place where everything works. Because at that place where nothing works, the illusion of you has let go of itself. Because it's only the illusion of us that's trying to succeed. It's the only thing that's trying to succeed. I mean, what would reality be trying to succeed at? Like being itself that it already is? I mean, what would be the point, right? So reality isn't trying to succeed at being itself. Such notions are totally ludicrous to reality, to what we really are. They're only relevant to what we imagine ourselves to be. The truth of you is the truth of you. It's not trying to succeed at being the truth of you. It reveals itself in the moments when the imagination of you lets go. That's when it reveals itself. It reveals itself almost as if by accident. That's why people call it grace. They call it grace because it's like I was trying and I was trying and I was trying, and then I was just walking down the grocery aisle at Safeway and I picked up a watermelon and boom, there was God. Which means I wasn't trying anymore. I was just picking up a damn watermelon. Those are the moments. That's what Lao Tzu is calling failure. When the me is not efforting. It's not trying to succeed. Because that's what efforting actually is. It's the me trying to succeed.